Before I came here, my family doctor told me that I was diabetic and he wanted to put me on some medicine. And I told him, I says, give me 6 months. I'm going to go see Dr. Connie and see if we can change that. And my A1C went from a 7.3 to a 5.5. She told me today I am no longer a diabetic.
Now that's news a lot of people would want to hear. You are no longer diabetic. Dr. Connie Casebolt-Carver with the Wellness by Design, and that was one of your patients that received some great news.
Yes. So you may or may not know this, but diabetes affects about 10% of the population, and the incidence is rising. It's especially even now affecting kids. We used to call it adult onset because it was mostly in adults, and now children as young as 2 years of age are getting this quote adult set. So now we call it type 2 diabetes. So it is a scourge, it's an epidemic, and it has devastating consequences. So it's one of the leading causes of amputation, blindness, kidney failure. It can also be a risk factor, a huge risk factor for cancer, heart disease. So all those bad things that we don't want to happen to us. And one of the problems is diabetics can become complacent and think that if they just take their medicines, they're fine. But medicines often mask the problem instead of solving it. It's true that medicines can lower your blood sugar and your A1C, but the underlying problem is still there, which is insulin resistance. And so if that underlying problem is still there, it's still not going to diminish those side effects of amputation and blindness and kidney failure and so forth.
Well, I know all about type 1 because that's something completely different and happens for different reasons. So type 2 is the main reason people get type 2. Is it what we're putting into our bodies?
It's largely dietary, yes. And so we have a program where we retrain people on how to change their lifestyle. We're also going to do a lot of checking. Sometimes their minerals are low, so sometimes their hormones are off, sometimes their thyroid is off, sometimes their adrenal glands are not quite functioning up to par. So it also involves some testing, but it's also quite a bit of coaching, and I personally do most of that coaching because I want to let people know that there's some major changes that if they make those changes, they can actually reverse their diabetes. So this is where I like to throw in, this program is not for everyone. If you think there's a magic bullet, a magic pill, and you just have to, it's all effortless, then this is not for you. This is for someone who understands the problem and is willing to make some changes, and then we kind of act as a cheerleader and coach and course correction if they get off course. But excellent results if people will do what we say.
Well, that's what I was kind of hoping that you were going to say, because so many people hear things and they're like, I want to do it, I want to do it, and then they realize, all right, so this means, you know, the desserts that you're used to having every night, you can't do that anymore.
Yes, there are some desserts that you can have that are acceptable, and we teach you how to identify those desserts. But typically, that pie that you're going to get at the diner, that gooey chocolate cake, probably not going to be able to do that.
It's a lifestyle change. I mean, it really is, and it's, you know, not easy the first couple weeks, but then you start to see changes.
And once you change your habits, it becomes what you want to do. It no longer requires a great deal of willpower. So, and I failed to mention, you know, the drugs that so many people are depending on can actually have huge side effects. So metformin, which admittedly does help lower blood sugar, but it can cause GI distress, it can cause neuropathy, and of course neuropathy is one of the side effects of diabetes. Whenever you add insulin, some people have to be on insulin, but if the higher the amount of insulin that you take, the higher your risk of heart disease, because high insulin levels are linked to heart disease.
So again, one circle, you know?
you don't, and there's other, I could go on and on, but you don't want to just depend on medications. That is kind of a short-sighted answer to a longer-term problem. So if you were like, okay, I'm ready to make some changes, I at least want to hear a little bit more about what those changes could be and how my life could be better if I got rid of diabetes. Well, we want you to come to a seminar. Tell us all about the next seminar. Coming up next Tuesday, the 21st. We do start promptly at 6 o'clock. And we have a tremendous PowerPoint program, lots of good information. So if you're mildly interested, very interested, this is the first step to come in and kind of see what, you know, a little more information about the problem and a lot more information about the solution. So yeah, Tuesday, 21st, 6 o'clock. and our address is 850 South Pleasantburg.
Yeah.
Jack's not here, but he always wants me to say, well, where is that?
Yeah.
It is a block from Cleveland Street.
Yep.
So it's really just 10 minutes from downtown Greenville. Very accessible location.
Dr. Connie
So-
Case-Bolt Carver with Wellness by Design. If you want to reverse diabetes, attend that workshop on Tuesday, January 21st at 6. Thank
That's right.
you so much.
Thank you.